Greetings MS officers. This video is brought to you by Malika MS and McKenna J. In this session we'll be trying to assist you in terms of financial assistance. Due to time constraints, we'll try to be as quick as possible. For those who find it to be very quick, the video, you will kindly play it in slow-mo or rewind it where you find we are being fast. Now you get into SASMs. This is your main menu. You get into financial assistance. It then provides you a message which addresses you in terms of it's the first time you're getting into financial assistance and you do not have certain requirements which you need to attend to before starting your financial transactions. You read the message, then you say okay, then you get into setup, then you say okay after reading the message. Then you set up your financial period. You add a new period. In this regard, we will be working with the current year. Let us say that our school just opened this year, so we are opening an account in January because the school opened in January. In regards to your school, you will refer to the documents which relates to your bank account in terms of opening your bank account, and for the financial year you will refer to the current year which you will be at by the time which you will be processing the financial assistance. Then you have your financial year for 2019 starting January ending in December. This is your system date, which you also find here at the bottom right. Now you save. Often in SASMs you always look where it's yellow. This is where you head next. So you validate that your system date is correct by checking it over here. If it's not, you switch off your SASMs, you go back, you correct, then you return here, then you save. Okay, done. Now you have your financial period, which is open because under closed you see it says no. Then you continue by clicking done. Then you select your chart of accounts. Because we fall within Limpopo, we are using the generic charts. If you do not fall under Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, or Western Cape, or Northern Cape, Western Cape, and Eastern Cape do not have some of the aspects which you will be needing in chart of accounts, you just use your generic charts of accounts. What do I mean the aspects? For example, in Limpopo we have norms and standard. In other provinces they may not have them. So for us to be able to add these norms and standards, we would have to modify generic charts of accounts. Then you head to the yellow spot, you save, it's okay, then you're done. Whilst we are in here, we are also going to maintain the bank account. Let's get started with the bank account. After that, petty cash will follow, receipt books, check books, and deposit books. Now we add our bank account. We add a new bank account we will be using for this tutorial. We'll be using First National Bank. We'll be using a check account. Often schools under public service use a check account so that we can have a trail, paper trail for all your transactions that will be occurring at the school. Now the branch in my case would be Groblersdal. Then the account number, this will be my account number, yours will be unique. Interest rate, you can leave it or add it provided you have it. Date account which opened, remember we said the school just opened this year, so ours would be the 31st of January. In your case, you will reference the date that appears on that document which you get when you open your bank account. Then the branch code, mine will be this one. For practicing, yours will also be referenced on the relevant document from the bank. Then the transaction month, when did we transact in this account? We transacted, let's say the day we opened it, which was January. then the year is the current year. On the 31st, how much money did we have? We had 0 funds in there. Then our first check number in check series to be used on the system, we are going to record all the transactions that occurred since we opened. So we are simply going to say the first check number in series to be used on the system is 1. The last, let's say our check book ends at 1000, so the last one would be number 1000. In your case, you will record the numbers which you want to start recording the financial transactions in your checkbook with. What do I mean by that? For example, you want to start recording with your check number 100. So you will simply say first check in check series to be used on the system is number 100. Then your last check number in check series to be used will be the last number on your checkbook. Then the system will start issuing checks from check number 100. I hope that is the exact explanation. Then you save. Then it says to you, you must be sure that the check numbers are correct before you save. Are you sure you want to save? Then you say yes. Then there you have it. You have your First National Bank, your check account, and then in chart of account, your check account falls within the 800 numbering. We will get into chart of accounts. You will better understand this when we get there. Now, since we maintained our check series, which would be our checkbook, we are also going to maintain our deposit book. Now, we will simply name this deposit book deposit book 1. Deposit book 1. Our first number in book, remember, was school is a new book, is number 1. The last one is number 1000. Then the last number used, we are going to leave it at 0 because we want to record our first check that we issued. There we have our deposit book done. It brought us back into the main bank account. There we still have it. As you can see, our bank deposit, other payments and check payments are now active because we have a check series in the checkbook. Then we also have a deposit book. Then we are done. We are out of the bank accounts, but we also maintained our checkbooks and maintained our deposit book. Then we come here, we maintain our petty cash. We add a new petty cash. We will call it petty cash account. There's a certain limit to your petty cash dependent on policy. You will reference that. Then for your person responsible, it is the person who's responsible for the petty cash, who is responsible for the transactions that occur in the petty cash. In our case, we will say it is McKenna J. Then the float amount is the amount that the money never goes below. So in this case, it will be 50 rand. And then our transaction month into the petty cash. We open the petty cash in January. Since when we opened the petty cash, the school had not been funded yet. We didn't have any money into the petty cash. So our transaction month would be, let us say, we were given money in March, since we are now in October. So we transacted money into the petty cash in a form of issuing a check. We got the money there. Then we put the money into our petty cash. So we put this money there in March the 29th. How much money did we put there? We put 500. That is the current balance. The float amount would be 50 rand. And then this transacted on this day. Then what is our voucher number? We should have a book that whenever we transact, we indicate how much money was taken out of the petty cash. So we say in the first voucher number in the series in the book would be number 1, and then that will be the number used on the system the first time we issue a transaction into the petty cash. Then the last voucher number is number 1000. Then we save the petty cash, we say yes, we say okay. There we have the petty cash, we are done. Now we maintain our receipt book. We get in there, we add our receipt book, we simply name it receipt book 1, similar to our deposit book 1. So our receipt book, the first receipt is number 1, the last one is 1000. The last number used is a 0 because we want our first receipt issued to start at 1. Then we say yes. There you have your receipt book done. Remember, colleagues, how does all this works? If you are receiving money at school, you will give whoever is giving you this money a receipt to indicate you received money. This is where we will indicate it. When you go bank your money, you will then move to this section whereby you will be indicating that here I deposited the money that I received at school. When you take money out of the petty cash, you will indicate it in here in a form of recording the transaction. When you pay via cheque, you will indicate it in here. Now once we are done with all those relevant books, we go back. Now we get into main chart of accounts. We want to maintain norms and standard just in case they pay money into our bank account. In relation to the 800 we were talking about, as you can see, there's numbering in terms of account based on laws that binds chart of accounts design and referencing. We can see number 800 is our First National Bank. Then from number 10 you get our petty cash. Now we are going to maintain income in terms of norms and standards. Then in here we say state subsidies. Let's categorize this, let's filter it by income so that we do not make a mistake of adding this account under a different account type. So we say income, then on 020 sub account we are going to say add an income account. What type of income account? State subsidy, the description of the account, norms and standards. The account type is already there, so now we say 001. Where do we get the 001? You already have the 000 here, so it's followed by the 001 in terms of numbering. Then in terms of opening balance, we do not have any amount that has been transacted into the norms and standards, so we leave it as it is. Then we save, information has been saved, okay. As you can see, we've added norms and standards. So whichever type of account that does not appear here and you need to transact and it's not appearing here, you simply come into chart of accounts and then you add it. Now we are moving out of chart of accounts. We get into your budget. If you have drafted a budget, you will then add your budget in here. The purpose of a budget is to prevent you from exceeding what you have budgeted upon. We will not be adding this income and expense in terms of budget, but we rather focus more on the transaction part. But you might add the budget if you want to. We are done in here. Now we get into select a transaction. The first transaction we will do, let us say you receive money at a school which is deposited into your bank account. Now we simply go and indicate that there has been money. We went to the second said money was deposited into our bank account. Then we are going to transact that. After we had transacted that, we are going to process other transactions, but all of this will be in our second video, because I believe now we have already exhausted 15 minutes of opening all those bank accounts. So for now, thank you very much, and we will be receiving our next video very shortly. Bye, colleagues. And remember, this is brought to you by Malika MS and Makena, located in Mutatema Circuit. Adios, amigos.